Really slow transition there. What is up, dweebs? Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Dweeb. I am James. With me, as always, is my good friend Kev. Kev, how are we doing today, buddy?
Happy Monday, gang. Should be a good one in store. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. Honestly, there's so much going on in the world of nerd news, James, that there's no way we're going to get to all of it today because we've got to focus on prepping everyone for the season finale of Daredevil Born Again.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that going for us, which is nice.
Tomorrow night.
How about you, James?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I did just get caught up on Daredevil, so I'm excited to talk about that, give our predictions where it's going, talk about some of the issues I have with it. As you mentioned, there is a bunch of other news that we'll touch on a little bit, some of it. We might not get to all of it. I think the big one is, I got to bring it up here. My computer is being real shit city today. Is that HBO confirmed 6 actors for the Harry Potter show. A lot of them we have discussed. We've got John Lithgow as Albus Dumbledore, as we've talked about before. Janet McTeer is Minerva McGonagall. Papa Acedu is Severus Snape. Nick Frost is Rubeus Hagrid. We had discussed that. We've got Luke Thallion as Quirrell Quirrell and Paul Whitehouse as Argus Filch. Kev, I have no problems with any of these. Even Nick Frost is Rubeus Hagrid, even though I think it's odd. However, the one they confirmed is the one that essentially does change everything about the books. Is Papa Acedu as Severus Snape. They have cast him. They have changed his race. And Kev, as talked about in the Discord today, we've talked at length about how Harry's father bullies him as a child, and now there's going to be a racial undertone to it, right? Which is the mega problem. I've got another one for you. And I'm trying to find, this was in our Discord today. There was a big discussion about it. Johnny brought up the fact that in the 3rd book, that would be the Prisoner of Azkaban, they come face to face with a Bogart, right? They have it. It is the Defensive Against the Dark Arts professor brings one in and brings it out, and a Bogart turns into your biggest fear, the thing you're scared of the most. Neville is white. His Bogart turns into Professor Severus Snape. You're now going to have a 3rd-year white student who the thing he's most scared of is possibly the only black professor at the school. I guess what is your thought on it, Kev? John, it was pretty heated discussion in the Discord today, and it's woof.
Man, I don't know. I think people are making a lot of assumptions that this story is going to stick to the book, verse, and line, and I just don't think that's going to happen. So to me, honestly, I feel like this is all going to be much ado about nothing, because what guaranteed we have that they're going to stick to any or all of that stuff? So I don't know. I just feel like this is a product of our times. Like, to me, this is such a nonsense conversation to have. Like, on the one hand, when we first started having it, when it comes to all right, if you were going to stick to that and James Potter is this bully, like, yeah, okay, if Snape ends up being the one black professor, all right, we're starting to walk down some racist territory, as I should say. But the idea that a child would be scared of their dickhead teacher is just like, I feel like now people are really trying to make this like, oh, now Neville's a racist. Like, bro, we're talking about a 9-year-old kid being scared of their teacher. To me, you have to do a little bit of your own work in between your ears to make that part about race. But that's just me. To me, that's just everybody being so sensitive about everything that we're just now going through this stuff with a fine-tooth comb in a way that J.K. Rowling never even went through this stuff, even though she will tell you that she always knew Dumbledore was gay. At this point, I just feel like we should probably just wait and see what the show actually does, because there's no guarantee.
Much ado about nothing, you're saying?
Yeah, like there's no guarantee that. Why are they going to stick with the narrative that Harry Potter's dad was a dick? Like, we just had.
I don't know. At this point, you almost think they won't, but it's so. I think you could get out of the Bogart scene, like you just don't do it, or you just make it something else, right? I don't think you.
True. Yeah.
Did Harry's dad being an asshole to Snape is important to the whole series, because it comes out that Snape was secretly in love with Harry Potter's mom throughout his whole life. There's a whole.
And that's the one where I can give it to you, where I'm like,
this one you can probably get out of, right?
This feels like 1955, in Alabama or something. Like, that's what it's like. Oh, you're quit talking to my girl, stuff like that. But where it's like, okay, yeah, I could see how probably not the best decision. But there's also, to me, there's a part of like, all right, gang, the decision has been made. So like we can overreact to every little part of it, or we can just see what the show does and not make assumptions about what the showrunners are going to do. And yeah, I mean, we live in a world where Snow White is no longer about true love's kiss. So I don't know why people are coming into these thinking that
surprise
canon is sacred. I don't. It's just
correct.
They're gonna change a lot. Get ready for it. Hell, they cast John Lithgow as Dumbledore, dude. That's not a good fit for the Dumbledore that I read on the pages. I don't think he's a good fit. I think Nick Frost, maybe 10 years ago, was probably like the most Hagrid person. If you could pick somebody to just be like a jolly Brit, a jolly fat Brit like Nick Frost, I could see him as a Hagrid. But generally speaking, McGonagall's the only one I feel like they out of the park. She's the only one out of that 6. I see her in that frame. I think that's Professor McGonagall. I could see it. Everybody else, I'm just kind of like,
I can see Filch down there. Like, I can see it. Quirrell, that one's tough because he doesn't look any like the actor that played Quirrell in the original movies. I'm like, that's not him. I don't know. It's going to be. I also don't know where these were announced. I literally just found that they've announced them and they've not commented anything, which is something, I guess. They also have not cast any of the 3 main actors. Who's going to play Harry, Ron, or Hermione.
Dude, watch Harry Potter be black, dude, and everybody be like, "Y'all, we're freaking out over nothing."
Yep.
Because James Potter's also black. See? That's what happens when you jump to conclusions. Where's my jump to conclusions board? All right.
Where's the button? There's Steam Deck button.
Where they're just like, oh, surprise. Didn't you know it? Actually, all 3 main character children also going to be minorities. In your face, internet. Who knows?
Trolls. In your face, troll.
It's actually going to be Harriet Potter. Or is that? Yeah, that's probably the best gender swap, right? Harry to Harriet.
Yeah, it's just like if you really don't want to do too much work, just put a couple T's at the end. Harriet, like Harrytt, just Harriet.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a tough one. I also I have to be even more transparent with everyone. This is not an IP that I am particularly tied to, right? So
Yep.
I will get more upset over a shitty version of a Lord of the Rings story, or I get more fired up about Star Wars sucking than I will Harry Potter, because for me, this Band-Aid got ripped off when the movies came out. I just wasn't really into all of the movies. So for me, it's like I haven't visited this story in 20 years. So much like when Snow White came out, I'm just like, I hear
Don't care.
you. I hear that you don't like it. I hear why you don't like it. I don't care, because I'm not going to watch it. You couldn't pay me to watch it. I mean, you could pay me to watch it,
I think I'm
but
out on it.
yeah, I'm not interested in having that story revisited for whatever reason. I think for me personally, Harry Potter came out at the perfect point in life where I got to read along as they came out.
Yeah, we were both. Yeah, we were both alive. We were both kids when the books came out, so we read them as they happened.
I would, at this point, if you, for my nostalgia, give me an Animorphs TV show. All right, I'm done with Harry Potter. I've had it. Hogwarts Legacy. What legacy, dude? What legacy?
Okay,
you tell me. You made your game about going to school. Come on. It's been downhill for this whole franchise. So we shall see. But that's kind of my whole takeaway from all of this, James, is I get the feeling that they are not going to be beholden to the source material. I just don't.
Even though they said they were going to, even though they've said that, sure don't look like it.
Fair. Yeah, and which I could be wrong, and there very well this could come to play out, and some of you will get to circle back and say I told you so. And to those of you out there, I will just say this: do it, live it up. Tell me every day that you told me.
Rub it in his face.
Because if you were on the other foot, pal, I might do the same to you. So let me have it. If I'm wrong, by all means, hit me from the top rope with the elbow, gang. But I just have a feeling that we've only just begun when it comes to Harry Potter fans being disappointed. I'm sorry.
Oh, I think you're right. I had a lot of hopes when it came out that HBO was taking this, as I'm drinking out of a Gryffindor coffee mug right now.
Hey.
I do not have any hope for this show right now. It's so far down the is what it is to me. Like, go ahead, get mad. It ain't changing. They don't give a fuck. And what is what it is, I suppose.
Now they could, if they decided to do, and maybe JK wrote these books. I have no idea, because I probably wouldn't read them at this point. But if they ever went and revisited that world again, I know they did like Fantastic Beasts and all that weird. I heard some mixed reviews on that. Let me just say that I did not watch.
I watched up till the last movie. I didn't watch the last movie. I heard the last movie was terrible, so I stopped.
Yeah, no.
When they pulled Johnny out, and then it got really weird. First one was kind of fun.
And I think there's probably, like, if you want to revisit some of these, Ain't the Wire. That's what I'm saying. If I'm on HBO, I'm with Polar Nights. I'm watching The Wire. Give me some of that. But yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for the Harry Potter fans, because we can relate to this in so many other forms, but usually it's just Disney doing this stuff where you're like, why?
Yep.
All you have to do is take the source material that's there and not mess it up. But yet, no, because you are some major conglomerate who has broken the antitrust rules that used to exist in this country year after year after year. Somehow, because you've been so profit driven, you think that you know better than the people who created the IPs that you have purchased to bastardize. It is just so dumb to me. It makes my brain hurt. So I despite everything that I just said about maybe a little bit of overreaction, I do relate. I understand what you feel, just thinking like, this was so easy. How did you?
It was a home run. It was a grand slam. It was over. Just make it. They can't help themselves. And you're right. It's usually Disney, the main They're the main culprit of this most time. Obviously, Snow White bombed. They made a bunch of changes. They had a Star Wars show last summer that we will never speak the name of that bombed. That wasn't even an adaptation. They just went the wrong way. Was it George R. R. Martin who said, what was his quote? He was like, "You think you're smarter than the original creators," essentially, when talking about adapting his like any stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people look and feel that way. Like the author of World War Z, when he came out and said, "Well, I wasn't upset because that movie has nothing to do with my book. They just took the title." Like Brad Pitt's character does not even exist in the book. He's the main fucking character of the movie. Does not exist. Like it was just simply just like iRobot was something completely different that got just iRobot slapped over it because they owned the IP and they knew that that name would draw more sales. So you have all of these instances over time. Like this is nothing new. Somebody buying something that was successful and for whatever reason, I guess just hubris, ego, all kinds of, not having.
They're smarter than everybody.
Yeah, you're just surrounded by yes men and nobody to call you out when you don't know what the hell you're doing. And that's how you end up taking something that really the time is right for. People could have nostalgia for the books. The movies have been.
There's a whole generation Harry Potter's irrelevant to, right?
There's a whole generation. Exactly. And it just seems like, I mean, I get it. In today's world, drumming up a little controversy is definitely good for brand recognition.
Publicity is good publicity.
But holy cow, man. And we're talking about it coming from a company that if Disney wasn't around, we'd probably talk a lot more about all the stupid mistakes that HBO Max makes and some of the bad investments that they have sunk their teeth into.
Yeah.
And that's not, and that would be without bringing in the whole Warner Brothers side of all of that. Like there's just so much to unpack with them not making good decisions. I mean, another story we won't get to today, but deals with these people directly. They're making another fucking Matrix movie. Why? Why? Dude, no one wants it. You're just
you had your chance. You had a sliver of hope making the fourth one, right? If you did it correctly, which they didn't.
Yeah.
And also I think it was almost impossible to do, but it wasn't. And now they're making another. It's just like,
if there was ever a movie that was queued up to just reboot it, because spoiler alert, they tell you at the end that we've done this whole dance of time, and there would have been that whole underlying thread of, well, will it change this time? Like, well, if Neo didn't do it, what will the new Neo get? Like, you actually could have just done a revision. You could have just done not a requel, but just redo that thing without doing what they did, which was the whole requel. Like, oh, it's part 4, but it's a reboot and a sequel. Like, no, you could have just went 100% reboot with the Matrix.
Easy
maybe it would have worked. I still would have waited a little while to do it, maybe, but yeah. And
Hollywood doesn't have an original idea.
Yeah, instead they force that one down our throats, force it down the creator's throat, who then wrote a very, very ham-fisted and on-the-nose script talking about how I'm just doing this because Warner Brothers is making me. Like the whole movie, there's a scene in the movie where Agent Smith literally says, Warner Brothers is making us make a 4th Matrix game. Like it was very, very thinly veiled, gang. It was telling us exactly what was going on behind the scenes. And so, yeah, this is a company that has just completely lost the plot. They've given money to the Paul brothers about 15 years too late.
They've got a reality TV show on HBO now.
Yeah, they got a Paul Brothers reality show. They're not the same rant I always make. They're using the lesser of their 2 possible names. Just complete dumpster fire going on. Yeah. And so, yeah, naturally, I think the only people who could screw this up worse would be our fine friends at Disney. James.
Oh, and they will. They'll try.
When it inevitably gets purchased by them and everything we've ever loved is owned by the one company that seems hell-bent to destroy it, then we'll really get to see some fun stuff with Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only way you can vote and voice your opinion is to not watch it. So there's that. I guess
we'll
that's
get
a
the
piece of advice I'll
Harry
give to everyone.
Potter
However,
What If series with
right,
James as the.
where Snape was white. But unlike everyone out there, Polar Knights is supporting us. We appreciate you, Polar, in the chat. Come on down. Kev, we got to 162 over the weekend. Closing in on 200. Slowly but surely. To all you out there who watched our Superman film and laughed at the quality of the video because something was wrong with my computer, we appreciate you. We appreciate
you. Yes. Come on down. And the lurkers out there too. Shout out to them. And if you're part of the rewatch gang, we see you too. We appreciate you.
Disney's making great movies, the greatest movies ever made.
Oh, so now I know who's been giving me shit on Twitter. I bet it's been Polar Knights. James, when they somebody made it, when they made a tweet about the 8-hour Wolverine video
breathing
ASMR,
exercise, right? Like
where every 50 something minutes he does like that. It hit the Wolverine 1 comic cover. Somebody put that out there, 8 hours of just breathing, and I had made some comment about like sounds awful, but somehow better than 80% of Marvel's current content. And you would not believe the people that told me Marvel hasn't missed a single thing recently.
A single thing.
Name the confidence. I wish I had that level of confidence this person had.
I'd like you to name a thing they've hit on since fucking Endgame.
So name one bad thing Marvel has done recently. No, thank you. I will not.
Secret Wars. Pretty simple. Had a good transition though to, I'm not gonna say good or bad. Something Marvel's doing currently in Daredevil, which is the title of tonight's show. We are caught up on the whole season. Episode 7, Art for Art's Sake, and Episode 8, Isle of Joy. Do we want to discuss these separate and then discuss our thoughts on the finale? How do you want to go about this?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have more thoughts on the series as a whole and more of like a preview.
Not Polar Knights, by the way.
Episode 9. That's right. Hey, there you go, Polar. So yeah, I mean, if you that probably works. I think we do the 7 and 8, and then kind of preview episode 9 because I have some thoughts that I'd like to get out there, and then we'll see after this whole thing's done how we feel when we get to talk about it next week. Yep. But if that works for you, that works for me.
Yep,
sir.
Perfect. Headbug or Harls, welcome to the chat there. Speaking of lurkers, likes the loose mythology approach of Mad Max. Could have maybe worked for the Matrix too, but she doesn't even like thinking about media like that. Some of us just want fresh stories and characters. Apparently, it's too fucking much to ask for.
Yeah. Jeez.
Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is getting a sequel too?
Why?
And Quentin Tarantino is not directing it.
Oh God. Okay, so it's like how they made 3 From Dusk Till Dawn sequels. Great.
Probably.
Thank you.
Who is
straight to Max, by the way.
I think it's focusing on Brad Pitt after that. I don't know. I'm like that Brad Pitt's character. I don't fucking know. I saw it and
I'm sorry that movie was the last straw for me as far as trying to defend even at least the artist side of Quentin Tarantino. I would say at this point,
I've never watched it. It's
not here
super
to discuss
long.
Personal life, but you can make it. I'm just saying. I don't see how anybody can be that close to Harvey Weinstein and also be that in defeat and not probably be a little weird themselves. But professionally speaking, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the end. It was the last straw for me where I was like, this dude is just masturbating with a camera from 40 years ago. Like there's no story here. There is very little about what made his films good. You sound defeated. I love it. That I thought Once Upon a Time in LA. I was going to say Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which was actually a good film by Robert Rodriguez. I thought that movie was trash, and it got to a point where just progressively, like the more money and the more stuff Quentin had to play with, the more it just felt like, he's just in his bathtub with his rubber duckies, and like, yeah, some beautiful shots. Like, don't get me wrong, Hateful Eight has some amazing shots, and doesn't he know it? Because he stays on them way too long. He does shit. The characters do shit that does not make sense, because look at how pretty the snow is in my nice millimeter camera. What, I don't even remember what it is. See, Quentin, because nobody cares in 2025. It's gone. You missed it. I'm sorry. But yeah, why would you a sequel to the movie that had no plot? Thank you, Hollywood. Thank you, Quentin. Your legacy is intact.
Nice. Lifelong dream is to live in a Jerry Springer and X-File episode, which, to be fair, could be a lot of fun. Okay, let's talk art for art's sake, Kev.
Just perfect. Speaking of Quentin Tarantino, art for art's sake.
Art for art's sake. I want to flash the spoilers tag, because we are going to discuss spoilers for the last 2 episodes of Daredevil. Everything in them. So if you don't want to know what happened or still plan to watch them, pause, come back later.
That's right. Leave a like.
Kev, I will give you credit where credit is due. You predicted the Muse actor in episode 1 or 2. You nailed it. You called it whatever his fucking weird name is. I can't remember what they call him. Bastion Christian. I don't fucking know. You nailed it. And he goes to see Daredevil's girlfriend as a therapist, and boy, oh boy, does it not go well, as expected.
Yeah, so much of that disappoints me, and it's hard to talk about it without kind of bleeding into the end of the episode and even into episode 8. But I really thought we were going to get an opportunity in that scene to see Dr. Glenn really sink her teeth into this. Like, we thought, at least I thought, based on the way they laid it out, that she was this excellent psychologist. I mean, you don't just get to work for the mayor and his wife without having some credentials. Now, it could be that our very paranoid blind attorney is correct, and maybe Wilson just hired her because he knew they had started seeing each other. That to me feels a little prequel Palpatine levels of foresight. Like, I'm not really sure Wilson Fisk would have known, like, oh, hey, Matt Murdock's had 3 coffee.
Yeah, I think
I should make her my therapist. I think
that was a genuine, like, them trying
you're great, right? You're the best.
He wanted to fix that relationship, and his wife didn't at the time, right?
Hey, that was what my take on it was. I thought that's what they were presenting to us. This is how good Dr. Glenn is.
I think it's him being way too fucking crazy.
I agree
with
you.
I'm okay with that.
That's why I have problems with how Dr. Glenn and Muse interacted, because I thought we were going to see like a Clarice in Silence of the Lambs, and that she was going to lock the fuck in and be like, ooh, let's dive deep. Let's peel behind. Let me psychology my way out of this. And immediately she was like, oh God, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me, bastard.
Yeah, I thought that too, because he talks about how much influence she had on his life and how he became Muse essentially because of her books and stuff. But we don't know a lot about said books. And they don't go into it at all. Like, I think you're right. I think it's a huge missed opportunity there to let her really flex that character and be this bigwig psychologist, psychiatrist, right? And literally could have walked Muse into a fucking, spun him in circles. Instead, they just go straight to violence. He ties her up. And then,
or even she flies too close to the sun. Like, maybe she's starting to make
maybe
she says the one wrong thing, and then there was no assertion of her skill level. Like, that was the opportunity, I thought, because we haven't seen. She didn't fix Wilson and Vanessa. That whole Adam thing fixed that.
Yep.
So
the next episode talks about that. Yeah,
they've undercut her character, and as this stuff plays out, 3 episodes ago, she was talking about how she wanted to interview Daredevil and get behind the mask. And then in the one fight happens, and now all of a sudden she's like, Daredevil's just as bad as Muse. And I'm like, that wasn't earned either.
I agree. I thought that was really odd too when they were having the argument in his apartment, and she's like, he's a fuck too. He's just some young kid with a mask on who's got masculinity problems. I'm like,
he only cares about himself. And I'm like,
saved your life? Like, what? You were toast. You were dead.
Yeah, it could have made sense if, like, for instance, when he's fighting Muse to save the young white tiger, like if he gets too into killing Muse and he lets her die because of it. So, like, you know what I mean? If there
Yeah.
had been that moment where he does go over the line because he's too focused on causing that pain, but no, every time he's making his priority to save the hostage. I mean, and
Yeah.
that just not to mention how everybody was undercut in these last two episodes, in my opinion, maybe with the exception of Kingpin. But like, Muse wasn't used well because the only way he was able to keep up with Daredevil's because he had a hostage. You're talking about a character who's very uniquely suited to be a pain in Daredevil's ass in the comics. Thought he was going to be a really powerful thing. He was somebody who Daredevil had a difficult time sensing the way he normally would. And like, so Muse had this leg up over Daredevil, just nothing. No, he's just a dude who paints and apparently was trained in Taekwondo. And they fit that in there as some stupid exposition. Oh, yeah, I did some Taekwondo tournaments, man. Yeah. What, bro? You're a super villain.
I posed this question when I was writing my notes about this episode, and I was like, was Muse criminally underused? That's a whole, like, we're gonna go into other characters and I'll be like, not criminally. There's others that are worse. Like, is he underused? Like, he should be this big bad, right? And all he ends up being is a quick means to get what up, Shadow, to, and I think this is a good question here.
I do. I like this. This fits, I think. What up, Nerd Champs? Welcome.
Welcome, brother. Hey, just sub too, 163. We appreciate it. Stu is not working today. Our stream elements bot. He must have got so drunk this weekend he can't show up for work on Mondays. I noticed it at 12. I'm like, he's not here yet. He's not here yet.
Well, Monday bender for the bot, but Nerd Camp says, "What up, gents? Do you guys think this plot is just too busy?" I think that could be a culprit, James. I think that's valid.
It's possible.
Says too many villains, no real time given to any of the stories. I also agree with that. Pacing has been with us, and the side story nonsense. There have been. I mean, we've had our bottle episodes, right? Like we had our bank robbery episode.
They name dropped Mr. Caramel Crunch Thief in, I think it was at the second. It was episode 8, right? They name dropped that waste of time and space, and I think I agree. Like, another question I wrote down is just the lack of, let me get the exact quote, the underuse of returning characters too. And then he talks about, like, there's just so many, there's so much going on. You know, Fox was in 1 episode, Karen's in 2. It's
pretty sure Punisher was an add-in in episode 4.
Yeah, because he's been in a episode. A single episode.
Okay, which is a good time to talk about this. All right, I have this note down. So we're talking about the underutilization of characters. You mentioned Punisher. We've mentioned a few of them. Here I have, and again, one of the first things they teach you: show, don't tell. What do we get in a company that loves to spill all of their toys out on the floor and play with them all? We sat and watched a 5-hour video of people's names on chairs. Why in the world are we being told about the vigilante presence in New York City instead of being shown that? There has been nothing that shows us why the people of New York would be so willing to let Mayor Fisk trot out this fucking police state. I would expect to see at least a couple of small-time New York you've got all of them, right? You've done there's been the Luke Cage little Easter egg in Times Square. Like you have all the Defenders potentially. I'm not saying, I understand if you didn't want to budget for Spider-Man for the show, whatever. But so far we've seen just the Swordsman. And honestly, they gave us their path for how to do that. You could have done more shitty cell phone footage, right? If like even that.
Yeah, with BB Urich.
Yeah, like even the Swordsman footage was ass, but at least it was there. And you could have done that a few more times to actually notate to us, let us see, oh, okay, I could see how the people of New York are on the fence about vigilantes, but no, it's always told to us. At best, it's told to us through
I
a
think the
beat
last time
during
we've
a
seen
interview.
any of these random
Have you seen New York?
vigilantes is like episode 1. We've seen a couple of them, but we get to episode 8, Isle of Joy, and the way he threatens that one bigwig mock guy, and he's like, "Oh, you're the swordsman." I'm like, "What? You know, like, where did this fucking come from? What are we talking? What?"
Well, that guy's like, yeah, swordsman, good job, dude. Cops ain't doing enough out here.
I'm like,
I don't know.
I think Nerd Champs hit it on the head. There's just too much fucking going on.
A lot. I tend to agree because again, as we looked at with Muse, that character could have had its own season, or it's a character that could have been in the background a lot longer. They could have done a lot more with it. It really could have drawn it out. Like when you think, and I don't want you to invoke something that's just infinitely better than this, but when you think about like movies like Seven, where they have that unknown killer running rampant throughout the streets, there's just so much more you could have done to pull out the feel of dread throughout the city. There's a serial killer. Correct me if I'm wrong, we find out about the serial killer. Is it one episode before he's dead, or is it the same episode that he's dead? So like the rest of the characters, the whole city has no time to react to the fact that there's a serial killer.
One episode before is when they find out about him, because that's when the little girl, White Tiger's niece, tries to find him and then gets caught in the big fight, and then so it's literally one episode later he dies.
Yeah, okay, so we do get at least, so yeah, there's one whole episode of building that. That's something that could have again really led to the people being this favorable to what Fisk said and did. But again, if you remember, Fisk did it before Muse was even a thing. So once again, as Nerd Champ says here, it's almost like it's a Frankenstein. It's like they put together a puzzle they bought at a thrift store that doesn't have the top of the box. So you have no idea what the puzzle's supposed to look like. You're just kind of cramming pieces that kind of fit together. And that seems to be what this show is, because, you know, and eventually we'll talk about it, I'm sure. Episode 1, episode 8, lots of parallels there, but at times feels like it's a completely different show. Not that there's no good cinematography, not to say that there's never been a good moment in those original 6, but it just feels like a patchwork quilt. And surprise, it's 2 puzzles.
Yeah.
I see Polar. I tend to agree with that. He sucks. He dies in one episode. We need to linger it out. What up, Nate? By the way, shot a Malort on tax day.
I had to pay my tax bill today. I can't afford anything right now, let alone the classiness that is Malort.
That disparaging comparison. Well, to be fair, you know, clearly I know a thing or two about buying a puzzle from a thrift store.
Oh, I hate puzzles. Fuck puzzles. Yeah, I would agree with this too. Like they've still got it. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are still awesome.
This is a recurring theme, I think, with some of these Disney-owned properties. We've talked about this before, where people can give just amazing performances, but it doesn't matter as much because everything around them is not up to their par. And when those two share a scene, I mean,
whoa,
those two sitting in a diner were enough, you know, to bring Stu back from the dead. Look at that. Like, Stu is here.
He's mad now too,
because he said, yeah, those guys are really doing work. And just imagine what we would have if not for them. And of course, a little bit of downtime where Kevin Feige got to watch those 6 episodes. But these guys were saying it the whole time, it sounds like, that this was not the route to go. And so almost everything that we like about the show, we have those two to thank. Not only their performances, but the fact that we get the 9 episodes that we get, the fact that we got some Daredevil but I also very interesting, now that we know what we know, James, just knowing things like, oh, there's not enough Daredevil, so we'll put him in the first episode. and
Yeah.
sort of where it's just like, let's bookend this show with stuff we know that people will like, and then that will make the middle part
What it
worth
feels like,
sitting through,
it
I
feels
guess.
like, and you mentioned it so we can talk about, like, episode 1 now feels like a direct tie to episode 8 because of Poindexter and that whole storyline. It almost feels like it's 2 buns on your hamburger, right? Episode 1, and then probably episode 1, 2, and then 8 and 9, right? And then the middle story is the old show crammed in there. Like, it's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
suddenly
Poindexter's another one.
Poindexter, who was a major player in previous seasons,
And one of the
and
best comic villains there is.
yeah,
Oh,
and
sorry.
I do like the actor. I think I like him. I like that character. He's just sidelined for the whole show, and then we open episode 8 with him getting put in Gen Pop, and suddenly he's a major character again.
Again, the shit you could have done last week. This is a lot of this stuff reminds me of what happened when The Walking Dead fired Frank Darabont, and then all of a sudden nobody could think 1 week ahead. And so it's just sort of everything's very convenient. And you're like, oh, what's her name is talking to her sister all of a sudden a lot this episode. I bet she's going to die. And then wouldn't you know it? Oh, yeah, the character we ignored for 5 episodes, all of a sudden we make you care about her. I wonder if she's getting bit. Sometimes
she's getting bit.
This show has that feeling. Like with Poindexter, one of the best parts about the show so far, and I would say again another example of somebody who did their homework and is really knocking that role out of the park for me personally. That is somebody and a story that you could have been visiting more frequently throughout. But again, it seems like James said, they didn't really want to go in and do too much to fix those broken 6 episodes in the middle. It was more like, well, we'll put this out here, we'll put this back here, and then we'll just do like a previously in the middle on right at the front. You know, we'll give you a little recap for a minute before, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, this guy exists. But no, these should have been consistently brought back throughout. How many episodes did we get where it's just Fisk does one thing, Daredevil does the parallel thing, which was cool, but we got like hours of that amongst these episodes. You tell me you couldn't have checked in on Poindexter or done more stuff with Muse in those periods. We had to be just in case. Hey, for you kids asleep on the back of the bus, Wilson and Daredevil, they're not so different, are they? They both have a demon they can't quite silence. Yeah, we know, dude. We fucking know. You don't have to do that every single episode when you could be spending some time with all these other really cool characters that you have at your disposal.
Nerdchamp brings up a good point here. Didn't they randomly make Bullseye regenerate in episode 2? Yes. Because he got thrown off a building and he survived.
Yes, he's got the super serum now, I guess. Because that was never, if memory serves, I don't know that he was ever enhanced like that.
And in prior seasons, he was just that good. And then I think, there should have been a storyline where, because he gets his back, he gets all fucked up by Fisk, I think, if I remember right, in the finale of the old show. Like, there's absolutely should have been something along the lines of he was given whatever to help with whatever, like then he gets his regenerative powers, etc. Right? But not even talked about. It just is. So then, like he's getting stitched up, and you're just like, what? And then, he pops his tooth out, shoots it into a guy's eye at like he's fucking Greg Matt or fucking Randy Johnson in his prime throwing a fastball. And gets out, and then it's like, okay, like I don't know where this is going. And then all of a sudden how does he get past security?
I know there could have been
how
such
the fuck
a cool
does he get
build.
Past?
Like, yes. I'm sitting here thinking as that happens, James, I'm like, I couldn't get Terminator 2 out of my head, and how you had this, I can't remember the actor's name, forgive me, but you have this scrawny dude with a big old block head and slicked back hair, and he's nothing compared to Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? When you look at the two of them, but how that dude, that liquid metal Terminator, that scrawny bastard brought fear to my soul for years as a child. And he was just a slow moving badass. And it was just watching him one stop along the way do something pretty heinous, but also like, wow, that's pretty badass. I just think you could have had this impending doom, knowing
He's out.
he's coming, and just seeing for five, like they did some of it. They just wish they'd have done more of it. You know, like they show him just walk through the kitchen and grab a thing. Like I would have loved to have seen more.
But he doesn't even need that
He
thing.
just shows up. He just like hops on a bus and then he's there. Like
nobody was like, "Hey, how'd this guy get out?"
Yeah, it was. Oh, hey, I'm on the bus, and
I could forgive that if you're
nobody
like,
recognizes.
They just you don't see him the rest of the episode, right? Whatever his face is tells Fisk, "Hey, he's out." That's it. Like he says that before he gets in the bill, like he's there. Like how the fuck do you? The special task force, he's fucking walked in. Motherfucker wasn't dressed up like any of you guys.
It's just very convenient. That's all I can say. Is
very
there are times, and this last episode did it a little bit, where it's just sort of, well, it feels like, at least, well, the story needs this to happen. It also, the whole thing is very odd. I didn't love the way episode 8 ended, to be honest with you. Like there was a lot about episode 8 really has me feeling, boy, maybe the finale can pull all this together, but I'm starting to think that the only reason I'm viewing this as one of the better Disney Plus Marvel shows is just because of how god awful the majority of those shows are. This is just okay at best to me. It's just
It's got incredible. The actors are across the board are very good.
Oh, all deserve so much better too. Because like even
the
like Cherry is great. The young girl, the young white tiger, great. Like there's usually at least one. Hell, even the character actors, like that dude from 30 Rock who plays the plumber guy who's also at the bank. Like that, those are some great little characters. And so that it's, man, just if they had gotten the right showrunners the first time and hadn't fallen into the sunken cost fallacy and said, well, we've already shot all this material, so we have to use it. So
we can only pay for Foggy Nelson for 5 minutes.
We could have had a really good show here if they'd have just been willing to do more reshoots, which is, I think, the first time I've said that. You normally reshoots doesn't solve anything, but
scrapped it and started over. It should have been a full reboot.
True.
Yeah, reshoots my ass. Like they should have just redone it. And then Kev, so now Kev, I'm going to pose this question to you because I think it's a valid one. Is Foggy Nelson alive?
Dude, 100%.
He is, right?
I think so. We've talked about the Easter egg, right? The subtlety of it.
Which Easter egg are you talking about?
So the very beginning of episode 1, when the 3 lawyer friends are leaving their building to go to the bar, they are outside of a building that has an address number of 468, which is the issue number for a little comic book called The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. And it is a story about Foggy faking his death and going into witness protection. So
I've not heard. I did not know that.
I believe what is going to happen here is right at one of the most difficult times for, like, right at the worst possible time, because this should be good news, but also you got to remember he lost Karen because of that. He stopped being Daredevil. Like people died because of this, because he was not Daredevil for a long time. So innocent people have suffered. And he spent the last year thinking that his best friend's death was his fault. So that's going to be something that, like, I don't know how happy he will be to see Foggy if and when that happens. And I think it's going to be something that is sort of right there with about 20 minutes left in the episode, or maybe it'll be a little bit earlier, but it's going to be that fall, that absolute rock bottom that Daredevil has to climb out of. So I'm a little worried if they do it this season. I mean, obviously we're down to the final hour here. So if they do it, they're not going to have a lot of time for it.
Is it just a shock value at the end of an episode type deal? Because that bar scene is so on the fucking nose, and I still don't really understand it, because he's like, Foggy wasn't drinking this Irish whiskey, and she has an elite line. She's like, how many oceans of Irish? I think I poured drinks to in here. Like, I fucking know what I'm pouring them. But he like gets up and walks out, and I'm like, what? I don't understand where we got, like, what? How did they even, like, how did we get to this? Also, motherfucker ain't dead. Like,
yeah.
I came out confused at first. I came out of that being like, Foggy hired Poindexter to shoot him. That's how confused I'm like, wait, Foggy hired Poindexter to shoot him to fake his death. I'm like, what is going on? That's what I came out of. I was like, that, and that eventually, like, it comes out that it was Vanessa that did it, and that whole last scene happens. I'm just like, how the fuck? What?
Yeah, so I mean, what happened, or at least what they expect us to believe as of this moment, if there's not another reveal, was Benny must have known something that was going to put the Fisk empire out. It was going to expose something, right? And so Foggy knew he was going to win, which is how we get this little clue that helps Daredevil figure this.
Yeah, that's he knew that was
revenge. Yeah.
That was Matt Murdock's comment there. He's like, he knew he was going to win.
Because they do that, I think, in the third or fourth episode when Dr. Glenn is at his house and he talks about the O'Melvenies and he's pretending to be real blind. So he's like touching the glass while he pours it. Something he's completely disregarded. Now, we've mainly bullied this episode for the last 40 minutes. So I will say this, little things like that I do appreciate, even though it's, they had to point at it. But, if you notice, the further this show goes along, the more Daredevil seems to be driving, and Matt Murdock is just sort of handed it over to his dark passenger. So I can fit a Dexter reference in here. Like he completely neglects the cane. I think at one point by the end, he puts it on a waiter's tray.
Twice. He does it twice. So when he walks out of the bar, the bartender's like, he didn't even use his cane. And the cop this way, he's like,
cheers.
And then at the dancing at the end, which is in kind of really funny moment, he slams the cane on she's walking around with the empty plate of drinks, and he just he flips it right on there and just starts dancing. Like, so those are fun. Like the Melvinese or whatever the fucking Irish whiskey was, that's a fun little callback, because if you're paying attention to it, you'd have to really be paying attention, but you could have caught that at some point and been like, oh shit, why is he drinking this? That's a celebratory drink.
I don't know who said this, so forgive me. I won't attribute, but the saying is, a good twist will leave you surprised. A great twist will leave you saying, how did I not see that? It was all right there. And this is one of those where I don't know if I'd call it great, but they pulled it out in small sample sizes and then, explained it to you verbatim. Again, show, don't tell, guys. It's kind of
just have her pour the bottle of Melvinese, say, this is for Foggy. He was the last one to drink out of this bottle. Light bulb moment, and he just walks out.
Yeah, or he could have had a flashback, because if you remember, he was spying on.
Yeah, you could leave that.
You could have it cut to. I mean, this is a little cliche, but cut to the black and white and have him remember over here, because he was listening to the guy talk to Kirsten, his current partner, about their case and all this stuff. So you could have had him realize it and let the audience kind of realize it along with you. The problem is when you're trying to pitch to the lowest common denominator, and by that I just mean you're trying to be as appealing to as many people as possible. You almost feel obligated to explain it. It's like, oh, so here it is visually for the people paying attention, and then we'll just have the bartender say it for those of you who are a little slower, or just maybe you not paying attention to this stuff as much, because you're not talking about it once a week. You're just here to watch it, and maybe you forgot a drink that was ordered 8 weeks ago on this TV show, and I would not begrudge you for forgetting that. But yeah, it had some good things, but no, Kev.
Yeah, let's talk a couple. Let's talk a couple of good things, right? Like the Vanessa Fisk scene where they go find, where he shows her where he's locked up her.
Oh, that was another one. Swish, by the way. Remember that? We talked about that. So I bet Vanessa's going to be the one that does him in.
Yep. Ooh, that's a good scene.
It's almost like this show is very formulaic.
Also correct.
I don't want to give myself too much credit here.
I thought the dance scene at the end was good when Murdoch or Matt's trying to call out Vanessa for getting Foggy killed, which he has no proof on. It's just a hunch. Like, he has zero proof because he blows off Poindexter and doesn't fucking do anything with him.
Okay. And that Daredevil Born Again, the comic run, is great. Like, that story also involves Matt Murdock just losing his mind. And so I did enjoy it, even though it's kind of one of my pet peeves of character is stupid and therefore plot moves forward. We did get a little bit of that, but the reason he's stupid, they have done a decent job at least of showing us this over time. He lost his best friend. He lost his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He has that moment, even though none of us here thought that petty criminal that Murdoch got attached to was anything more than just a fucking asshole. The show failed, in my opinion, in making us feel sorry for that guy, but Murdoch felt sorry for him, and he felt, hey, this system is corrupt. There is no justice. I can't solve anything. I can't fix anything. Fisk has my number, and he just continues to get crazier and crazier. Now Fisk sends his goon over to his apartment. So now his girlfriend's in danger, the one he almost watched die. So it kind of makes sense that Murdoch
he's losing his fucking mind.
He's out fighting in the streets again. He's lying about, he's got his double life. It kind of makes sense that he might snap a little bit.
I agree. So the question now, Kev, we're going into the season finale. Daredevil is taking a bullet. Matt Murdock is taking a bullet, so he's going to be laid up a little bit. What's going to happen? Where are we going here? What is the end game here, right? I assume Poindexter's going to get out alive. Like, he's getting out of the ruckus there alive. But what's the end game here? Because now he's laid up. Vanessa knows that he knows that she hired Poindexter to kill Foggy. Poindexter is alive. So are they all going after Poindexter? We've talked about Foggy being alive and him showing up. You still, like, the Punisher's still out there, but at this point I can't see the Punisher even showing up. Like,
he's got to be more of a season 2, I think.
Well, he's got that special 2 coming out. They've got the Punisher one-off special.
That's right. So, and let me say this: if they do have the Punisher take out the task force, what up, Headbug?
What up? Welcome.
If they do that, then that will be another one on the list of unfulfilling and rushed side plot storylines.
Because they didn't do anything with it.
They haven't done anything with it. All they did is have Daredevil mention it to Frank, and he's just like a bunch of posers or whatever he says. It just is not great. So what I imagine is that's going to be held for part 2. The question that I have, James, is because Daredevil saved Kingpin, is he going to give him sort of a head start or something? Like,
I don't know.
You would imagine there'd be a little bit. Clearly, all we've seen about Wilson from this whole season has been that he takes care of the people who do right by him. He's got that idiot James Gandolfini's kid running around as a deputy mayor. So perhaps there will be a little bit of "you saved my life, so I'll give you a couple days, but I'm still coming." He's still coming after him. There's no way. There's no way this ends with them anything other than entrenched in a war going forward. But
there's going to be no conclusions, right? Like, nothing. I don't even know what storyline can be tied up by the end of this. It has to bleed all in.
You should have killed Muse right away.
Yeah, like Nerd Champ says, they think the Dirty Cop Network is going to be the main antagonist of the Punisher special, which that would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, if you would have saved Muse, Muse could have been the season finale. Bang, done. I just don't even. the only Poindexter's the only like loose end that I don't know what happens exactly. He's alive, but nothing else can get tied up. Unless I don't know what happens. Like, is Vanessa gonna?
It's gonna end on a cliffhanger, I think.
Fisk gonna. I mean, is the cliffhanger fucking Foggy coming back?
Oh, probably.
That it?
Dude. Honestly, it probably is. That seems like the kind of thing they would do, because we have to remember this was meant to be a 1-season, 18-episode run, and now they've broken it in half. So I think they are absolutely going.
Are we looking at this the wrong way? Are we? You mentioned that's a good point. It was initially an 18-episode run that got split into two. Are we looking at this the wrong way? Is this the end of episode 9 of season? Like, if you look at it as all one season. Like, is this the mid-season finale type shit?
I would think that the answer is yes. Yeah, that would be my guess based on the amount of time we likely have left, even if it's an hour. I mean, I feel like, just, you know what?
Yeah.
Go back and find our Ahsoka episode from right before that finale, and I'm about to say all the same things. I don't see how they tie everything up cohesively in a way that feels satisfying in the time that is left without rushing a bunch of stuff. So I expect that there's going to be a lot of unanswered questions, and I really don't know what, if any, good will come, any sort of resolution, because you can't have Fisk get arrested. Maybe does Vanessa die? I doubt it. Like,
I think she maybe. Fisk finds out that she hired the hit on Poindexter and gets mad that he doesn't know, but like, what's that do? Is it going to fracture their newly fixed relationship? I don't know. Sorry, while you were out, I fucking hired somebody to kill Foggy Nelson.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, also while you're out, I was banging this dude that we helped kill. Yeah. How is that? How is that going to? Yeah, we got past that. If you can get past the so-called infidelity, I think you're going to get past hiring.
Sorry, he hired
to kill someone who annoyed you when you're
while you were out, like you were
while you were not doing your job.
Yeah, you were recovering. Like, it just I don't know where I'm not sure where this goes, and I think it's going to be a disappointing, and maybe we'll just get a shock. Maybe Foggy does show back up. Maybe Daredevil's girlfriend dies. I don't know. It's.
Dude, this was they're gonna have to fight. He's gonna fight Bullseye, get him arrested again, because we all know he can just get out. So that will be a resolution. And then in the most ham-fisted post-credit, definitely shot during the reshoot scene, we're gonna have Frank Castle pull up in some unmarked car and be like, "Come here, Red. I got something you might want to take a look at." They're gonna do "You better come take a look at this" cliche. Ding.
Foggy sitting in the back.
It's gonna be Foggy, and it's gonna be fucking Frank's like, "I found your friend. Can you say his name now?" or something. Just be like, "Oh, that's a callback. Remember that 5-minute scene he was in?
One time he was in, yeah."
And then they're gonna leave us a break for us in our living rooms and applaud a black van.
Something that's probably got to happen with the task force to set up the Punisher special, right? Like, something's got to happen, has to happen. But it's just like, I also like, I'm more like, are we not like, you think they'll fight Poindexter? Maybe, but I'm like, Matt Murdock just took a fucking bullet. He's gonna be laid up for a second.
Is he gonna be in the bed? Is he gonna be in a hospital bed the whole time? See, I think just a shoulder shot. I think we're gonna come to find out that, like, the 28 knives that were sticking out of his body in episode 1,
he's fine.
He just apparently also has
some
regenerative powers that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he got stabbed a lot. I guess they did skip a year, but
yeah, there was a year jump, but
dude looked like a pincushion.
Yeah, he did. He looked like the fucking pinhead.
Yeah, right. Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah, I got a fetish monster.
We'll see. I don't.
Oh, it was all a dream. There it is. He wakes up hungover with a bottle of Old Melvinese on his. So I just had the worst nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, it's not.
Oh, nerd with the great.
Oh, he's not wrong here.
I had to bring
He's
that
not
up.
wrong. Had to do it.
That's a fresh
No, yep. Lightsabers don't even kill you anymore. Oh man, we have talked at length about that fucking decision.
Yeah, come hang out on a Wednesday night, Nerd Champs. You'll get some of that. A lightsaber can cut through anything except for things it can't. See, Sleek's got it figured out. I have to stop dreaming so much, Foggy. I keep dreaming he died.
Oh, time is a flat circle, isn't it?
Hey, Sleek, congrats on the getting out of surgery, by the way. Didn't want to just skip right past that. He said, I'm out of surgery. Everything went well. Well, good. I was about to say good luck. Well, good luck on the rest of your recovery. So I'm sure there's still a little bit of R&R for you, but congratulations. I'm glad to hear that everything went well there.
Yep. Big up, Sleek. Headbug, if you want to hear the HP talk, it's the first 20 minutes on the rewatch. So we talked about it at the beginning. I know you talked about it a lot in Discord today. So we'll see. We will talk about the series finale. Maybe next Monday. We'll have something on it.
Yes.
Follow the rules, Sleek. Follow the rules.
Ooh, no
don't
heavy.
do anything. Don't do it. And you're gonna want to. Don't do it. We will talk. We'll discuss the series finale at some point. This is in reference to the bot that hopped in Twitch a little bit ago. Polar Knights runs the Twitch domain. Got to go through him. We don't need nobody else. I was like, what? Oh, and I was like, oh, there.
I was like, who was he talking to?
And I was like, what?
The best viewers on streamboo.com. Yeah, so if you're looking to bot your audience, go for it. We prefer only one bot in the chat, and that is our lazy bot.
He doesn't show up half the time. He was late, so late today. But yeah, we will talk about the series finale. We will also be live this Wednesday talking Andor.
That's right.
Our preview for Andor. So we'll be live this Wednesday. I may have some Last of Us content coming. I know Polar asked if I'd watched, if any of us would watch it. I did watch the episode last night. And as an avid fan of the video games, I do have some thoughts. So I probably will do a little short pre-recorded segment on it to just give my thoughts on where I think it's going and some of the changes they made. Look for that this week. Kev, outside of here, buddy, where can they find you at?
Well, you can find me watching James's Last of Us content. I would participate, but I have played about half of one of those games, and I haven't watched any of the show yet. So I know I need to watch it, and maybe I will. Maybe I can have the perspective of here's what it's like to be a non-fan of the games watching this show. Is the show just good?
Oh, that's kind of fun
for somebody who knows the names of the characters, and that's about it. So maybe we will check into that. But James mentioned more pre-records coming. Definitely you will be seeing that from us. The live shows will continue to roll, but no, man, it's just a busy spring for me over here. So if you ever want to see me at work, go check out Carnage Media PPV. So on YouTube, the free fights are youtube.com at Carnage Media PPV. And if you ever want to watch it live, go to carnagemediappv.com. We've got a massive fight card coming up this Saturday. We got a Pro-Am, and the early prelims will be free on our YouTube channel. So come say hi to me at work this Saturday at 7 p.m. You can watch some free fights before the pay-per-view starts. But other than that, look for me right here. And Clout Route. Normally on Sundays, we're giving everybody Easter off. All right. So a little pivot. Clout Route will be live next Tuesday evening.
The Crowders.
Back to our regularly scheduled programming after that. So
Crowders are on the lookout. Shout out to Stu for giving us one last call to action here. If you like this, subscribe, share, help us grow. We picked up 2 new subs during this episode. Nerd Champs was one of them. I have no idea who the other one is because Stream Elements did not do his job. Stu did not do his fucking job. So whoever it was, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Shout out everybody in the chat today. Sleek, Nerd Champs, Headbug, Advent was in there earlier. Nate, Harles, Polar Knights, the usuals. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you like the content, again, like, share, subscribe, leave us comments on it.
Oh, it was Polar Knights.
Oh, it was Polar Knights. Oh, hell yeah, Polar. Look at that. Got him twice. We got him.
Now that comment makes a lot
it
more
was-
sense
yes,
about being in
Tori-
surround sound.
Yep, there it is. Yep.
I was
thought
like, man,
this was him.
I was like, some of these spam messages are getting weird.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
That's fucking great. One away from 165. Sleek, I'm scared to ask on this, but we got to get, you can't leave the fans hanging. We got to know the answer to this question. But yeah, we'll be back live Wednesday talking Andor. We'll be back live next Monday. There will be some pre-recorded stuff coming out. Sleek, what's the answer, bud? What is it?
See, I bet
Let
it's
us know.
a very inappropriate joke is what I'm rooting for.
Very, that is he just typing like a full paragraph? That's what's taking
like
so long.
these nuts or something.
Polar Knights jump to it. Not small. Not a small human being by any means. Kev bigger than you think too, though. I always assumed Kev was like 5'4". I was wrong.
Yeah, dude.
I met Kev in person. I was so wrong.
Dude, I was talking with an old dude yesterday at the park. He was telling me about how his favorite oak tree had died. It was very tragic.
Oh,
like
no, that's
300-year-old oak tree. I was sad about it too, but at one point he was talking about the circumference of the tree, and he looks at me, he goes, "You're about my height. We're both 5'8". And I was about to say, "Sir, I challenge you to a duel. You ever call me 5'8" again?"
We will fight. We will fight.
We are gonna fight, dude. You're about my height. 5'8". Come on, dude. You can't be putting that stuff out there like that.
Oh, it's a Nick Dirio reference. This is out of my realm. This sounds like something Kev would know.
Yeah, dude. I wish I could tell you guys the story about whenever someone says massive, he plays a clip and says that. You know what else is massive? No, I did not know the reference. I would love to tell you guys the anecdote of me just taking a walk yesterday and this tree enthusiast stopping me to tell me the story about how his favorite tree died. Thing was wild. It took down part of a bridge. Like, it was nuts. It was a really big tree, but he was, I guess his grandfather ran a sawmill back in the day. Apparently, James, that tree that I watched no longer be alive was a sapling during the Revolutionary War, according to my new friend, the arborist.
Oh, an arborist.
I think that's what they're called.
That is correct.
Nice. Right? Holy shit. Like 300, like part of it, I was like, dude, this is pretty wild. I was, on one hand, I was like, thank you so much for telling me this stuff. So now I can look for some of these old, because he was telling me about other old trees in the neighborhood. But I'm like, how tragic is it that I didn't know this thing was this really cool part of Ohio
until bye-bye
after it fucking got knocked down.
Yep. That's about how it usually works. You don't care until it's gone.
Hobbits are the best.
Yeah. Shout out everybody. We appreciate you. We will be live again this Wednesday. You know where to find us. 9 p.m. Eastern. Talking Andor. Until next time, folks. Deuces.